My roots are here. My life is here. And I went out and explored different types of life. And when it got to the point where I needed help, I had to come back to my roots. And this helped me to survive to where I am now. Here gave me a purpose, a reason to stay alive. I was adopted, but that happened because my mother, when she was young, her and her brothers, my uncles, were taken from home here, which is here, and placed in schools, residential schools in Ontario. And that's where my mother got pregnant. And in them days, it wasn't what you'd call okay to have a child out of wedlock. That's when Mama and Papa here, who were already raising my Uncle Bob, they decided that, hey, got one, might as well have two, you know? So Mama came and got me when I think I was 6 weeks or 7 weeks old. And my life started over here. We were poor, but we weren't the only one. Everybody was poor in them days. But beautiful because it was family life. It was strict, but it was fair. I would say we were spoiled, because in them days, as I'm talking about the late 40s, early 50s, we spoke 3 languages at home: French, English, and Indian. In school, speaking Indian was like using the devil's language. It wasn't tolerated. They'd say it. In French, tu parles le langage du diable. On parle pas ça ici, because they were devout Catholics. And we'd get whacked for it if we spoke a Benedict language. I left the reservation because I didn't see no future. It's funny to say, but by the end of the 50s, beginning of the 60s, started seeing TV, and it looked like there was a better life someplace else. So I was 15, going on 16 when I went to the States to start working as an adult. Construction work was good over there, and they hired Indians for working high-rises. Being young and with money in your pocket in a big city, I started hanging out with the boys and drinking and getting into trouble, and not major trouble, but teenage stuff. And one night, my stepfather, my mother's husband, sort of seen me going down the wrong path, and he had been in the military. So he kind of waited till I got a little snoozed up a little bit with the beer, and he kind of dared me to go in the Corps. And since I had a big ego, I took him up on the challenge. I was 17. They send you to Paris Island, boot camp.
You'll be here at recruit receiving base for 5 days. During this time period, you're going to receive all of your uniforms, all of your shots. Your service record book will be brought up to date. Everything you need to be processed in the Marine Corps. Hurry up, privates, I don't have all day. I said get on the curb, facing the group.
Do not run, walk swiftly. Do not run, walk swiftly. Go ahead now, straight to the front.
Boot camp is what I'd call brainwashing, indoctrination, torture chamber.
Stand right in front of that chair over there. Give me another private in here. Stand right in front of that chair.
They take you out of civilian life, and they sort of like break you down.
there! Get up there, Fowler! Look behind you. You got a whole line behind you. Get up there! Real good. Come here. You quit and you don't have any guts.
No, sir.
What did you quit for? Well, why didn't you get back up there then?
I tried to, sir.
Oh, yeah, I saw you try. I saw.
And then once you're broken down, they build you back up the way they want you to be.
You're useless to your unit now.
I found out that I wasn't that tough, that they were tougher than me.
Lift your heads and hold 'em high. Lift your heads and hold 'em high. 3313 is a passing by. 3313 is a passing by. Singing left, right, a leg.
It's very convincing when they indoctrinate you into their way of life.
We're having a ball. We're having a ball. All the way. All the way.
Lo and behold, it didn't take long. We were called in the office and said, hey, your orders are in. You're shipping over. Wound up in Vietnam. Spent a year, 8 months, and 2 days in the front lines. And I guess I wasn't ready to go upstairs. God didn't want me yet, so he let me live through it. I flew to Okinawa, which is a transit area for Marine troops. Used to be known as the Rock during the Second World War. From there, you fly to Vietnam, and I worked for S2 Intelligence as a scout sniper. We had to guard the air base at the Nang airfield. And we used to guard for invasions by the Viet Cong or the North Vietnamese. Our life expectancy as a scout sniper was about 26 seconds. Don't ask me how they figure that out, but when you're going out on a mission, if you get attacked, then your life expectancy is 26 seconds. At first, you don't know. You're all mixed up. You're scared as hell. You don't have time to think, really. It's just that you react. It's like you're used to watching war stories on TV or something like that, right? And all of a sudden, you're in the middle of it, and you know that if you get shot, you're not going to be turning another picture the next day. You're dead. You know, the reality is right in front of you. You see your friends go down. Half their heads are blown off, their legs are blown off. You have to carry them out. You put them in body bags. It's hell when you see your buddies die. You know, it's not a game. We're all young men, all of us. I seen some of them in the Viet Cong that were kids 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. The Kongs or guerrillas, and they would just hit and run, hit and run. A lot of times you'll run into a group of Viet Cong that'll stay and fight. And when that happens, is a lot of them are tied up. They can't run. They're chained to a tree or to anything. They can't, in other words, they know they're gonna die because they can't run no place. They're tied there. So they gotta fight until they die. We seen all that. It was there and we had to deal with it and to the best of our ability and live with it after. If you didn't become numb, you would never survive. When you kill, to you, you're saving your buddy's life and you're saving your life by eliminating the enemy. Sometimes there's children, sometimes there's women, but they're trying to kill you, so you haven't got a choice. It's not what people think it's like. It's hell. That's why I'm sure to go to heaven. I did my hell on earth. We were used, and then when we came back, We felt rejected by the people. They looked at us like, look at these, I don't know, these crazy kids or murderers, or they spit on us and call us all kinds of names. And inside of you, you say to yourself, Jesus, I'm over there fighting this war, this conflict, to keep them free in a democratic way, is what we believed. And I come home and they're treating me like the enemy, and where I'm supposed to be their savior. All this rejection actually you don't even want to come home. At this age, you feel like shooting some of them. Most of the time, when we were on patrol or on a mission in the jungle, it's almost like walking blind. Everybody carried machetes with them to cut through the different foliage over there, which was quite thick. It served the enemy quite well because it's their terrain, and they could use it for cover and ambushes, and until they started shooting at us, we would never be able to see them. It's when they're hiding, waiting for you, and you show up for the party. So we were all told that we'd have a better eye view because they were going to spray some kind of chemical that would kill the foliage. And I found out years later that it was called Agent Orange. And the planes fly over, they drop it, and before you know it, the leaves and the big, big leaves from palm trees and stuff, they all fall. They all die. But the thing is, they never realized that this stuff stays in the air. It was killing a lot of us too. Not right there, but in the long run, it was affecting all of us who were exposed to it. And we use mostly in the South, so our lungs, our livers, our hearts, our skin, our nervous system. And they never warned us about this. Once they're done using you, you're a dirty rag. Get out of the way. Me, I've done the best I can with the hand that was dealt to me. I don't regret nothing. But there's no money that can compensate for a life. Don't walk too fast. Wait for me. You're nice and young. Huh? When we were kids, we used to come here. This was our swimming hole. We used to all come down. There was no trees. It was all nice here. And the whole hill here was all nice sand. We used to jump in it and roll down the sand and jump in the river and swim.
Better than now.
Yes, better than now. We used to hunt here, all over around here. We'd go hunting for rabbits and partridge. And we used to fish in the little pond on the other side over here. Did you go hunting yet?
No.
You know how to put snares?
What's a snare?
The snare is a little thing that like you make out of wire. It's a collar that has like a slip knot, all right?
No, I'm not able.
And you find places where the rabbits travel a lot. And you find a spot and then you install it there to catch them.
Oh.
So we used to do that when we were young because we were poor, so we had to, that was food.
Good food?
Yeah, good food. When you're visiting your grandmother, do you talk about when she was young and living around here?
Sometimes.
Yeah? We used to go to school together. You know that? Your grandmother and me? Yeah, we used to go to school together. You know what they call this, the common?
No.
This is a piece of land that belongs to the reservation. You know what that means?
Yeah, the reservation, like there's it's like we could come here, we could come and live here, but there's some people that's not allowed.
It belongs as much to you as it belongs to me, as it belongs to Alanis. It belongs to all the people.
Uh-huh.
It's like a holy ground, if you want. It used to be. I look at it now and I don't see it that way, but that's the way it used to be here.
Uh-huh.
But it's still a nice place. I like to come and walk through it sometimes and remember when I was young. We used to come and chop Christmas trees here. Did you know
But we
that?
still do it.
You still do it?
There's a lot of people that do it right here.
Yeah. Do you? Did you ever come?
Yes, with my mother once.
Yeah? Did
Uh-huh.
you get a nice one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
It was too big for the house.
Must have been a lot of work to drag it out, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You never mentioned that you were a vet. Because right away, there was a stigma on you that you were nuts. You had to be crazy to have served over there, or you didn't mention it. We couldn't hold a job very long. People, they couldn't put up with us. And we just as soon hit a boss as look at him. So getting work wasn't hard, but keeping it was impossible. In Christ, 99% of us that came back from over there who suffered from something called PTSD didn't even know we suffered from it because we weren't re-indoctrinated into how to live a normal life. We were brought in from the killing zone, and we had to control our impulses of our way of surviving. And our way of surviving was kill the enemy. Most of us didn't know how to deal with that. When we get out of the service, they don't even tell you that you're entitled to unemployment. They just give you your walking papers and goodbye. They don't want to hear from you or see you anymore. I was entitled to a pension for injuries suffered in combat, both physically and mentally. But I never found out till 16 years later. It just shows that the government, they want your help and they give you all kinds of promises when you first go in. But when they're done with you, they don't need you no more. They want to forget about you. I finally got my just dues. But it's, to me, even that is small compensation for the way I have to live. Your flashbacks, your bad dreams, it's unbelievable. It's 38 years ago and I still suffer from it. I'm on medication for the rest of my life to control my emotions. And hey, there's over 60,000 who have committed suicide since they come back from the war. So I think in that itself speaks a lot that we were left alone to deal with our problems accumulated from over there. One morning, I just got done working. I was working in a bar besides construction, and it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning in June. And I had a 357 because I never walked around naked. I always was packing. And it was either blow my brains out or find some way or some reason to keep on living. And I thought about my daughter, which at the time was only about 2 years old. And I don't know, something made me feel guilty of taking my life. And I decided then and there to come back home. That was my last hope. If that didn't work, then I wouldn't have continued. I would have gave up and found a way and would have done it in. And thankfully, I was lucky enough to come back to the right spot. Well, I had enough money to take the bus from Albany to Montreal, and then from Montreal take a bus to home. When I got to Montreal, the buses were on strike. So I walked from the bus station in the city all the way to Versailles in the pouring rain, and till somebody gave me, I was hitchhiking, somebody gave me a ride. And luckily, they dropped me off uptown at Pierreville, next to the reservation. When I walked in home, sort of like a weight had been lifted from my shoulders. I felt peace. But it didn't take long. A lot of it comes back. When it comes back, you kind of realize that there's something wrong with me and I need help. Now things are stable because of the medication, but they're still, they're never going to go away. And but I can deal with them better now. Having a chance to help younger people. That's one of my salvations. And maybe down the line, talking with me and spending time together. I haven't for 7 years, so I can say something that might reflect later and help them in life. And to me, it's a good salvation. I feel like I'm giving back to my reservation something that they've done for me. I needed help. I had to come back to my roots. And this helped me to survive to where I am now. Here gave me a purpose, a reason to stay alive. I was adopted, but that happened because my mother, when she was young, her and her brothers, my uncles, were taken from home. My roots are here. My life is here. And I went out and explored different types of life. And when it got to the point where here, which is here, and placed in schools, residential schools in Ontario. And that's where my mother got pregnant. And in them days, it wasn't what you'd call okay to have a child out of wedlock. That's when Mama and Papa here, who were already raising my Uncle Bob, they decided that, hey, got one, might as well have two, you know? So Mama came and got me when I think I was 6 weeks or 7 weeks old. And my life started over here. We were poor, but we weren't the only one. Everybody was poor in them days. But beautiful because it was family life. It was strict, but it was fair. I would say we were spoiled, because in them days, I'm talking about the late 40s, early 50s, we spoke 3 languages at home: French, English, and Indian. In school, speaking Indian was like using the devil's language. It wasn't tolerated. They'd say it in French.